Howdy, guys. Another bloody day in the market over here. Let's dive into how we're going to approach this market. All right. So, key thing is tomorrow we have Tesla earnings after the bell. And then on Thursday, we're going to have Google earnings after the bell over there. These are going to be market movers. I'm going to point out why I think we are personally going to be, continuing this fall here. I think the bottom is not in. I know we're bouncing back. I know we got these lower wicks here on the daily candles today. I know most of the Mag 7 stocks and semiconductors printed hammer candlesticks / pin bar candlesticks today. I know how it looks. I'm going to point out why I do think we are probably going to be going lower. And we're going to go over some levels here first on SPY and QQQ for you to trade either direction. All right. Now on the upside over here on SPY, we're going to be watching 518.20, 521.70, 524.98, 529.71. On the downside, we're going to be watching 510.27, where buyers started defending today. Underneath there, 507.40, 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level. All right. And then we'll come down to the 4-hour time frame to discuss the rest. Okay. On the downside, 510.27, 507.40, 503.67, 499.72. Now, you don't really want to even be getting down back down here, guys. At that point, you're probably going to be hitting it with the 100% retracement. We are probably going to come back down to 480 over here on SPY. I'll just say we had, a good amount of, out the money puts coming in for these lows over here today. The tape is, it's bearish. It's been bearish. And, I don't think there's a reason to really fight this thing. I'm going to point out why I do think we're probably going to be being dragged lower, probably tomorrow. And I know, you got this 4-hour candle here. I know it's green. It looks like, oh, buyers are stepping in. Well, guess what, guys? All right, these can happen. Then you can, get your little dead cat bounce, and then you can continue fading. All right. For the time being, guys, if we do end up seeing the pop tomorrow into 518.20, we're going to look for sellers to defend there. All right. And if not there, sellers that really want to be defending 524.98. If we see price get above 524.98, we are probably going to start pushing back up. Right now, we are about $30 from the upside. All right. From where we were recently, we're about $30 from the downside where we were recently. We're now closer to making new lows than our most recent high over here. That is important. All right. We're coming into the golden pocket. If buyers are going to defend, they better defend right over here. Personally, I don't even want to see price getting down there if you were going to, have that shot. The buyers are going to step in. I just don't think that's, a good look. Let's just look in the weekly candle over here. All right. And, we'll just come over here to SPX. I don't have too much over here on the SPX chart. This is something that either is going to have this whole thing, the whole current candlestick is going to turn into a wick by the end of the week. And we have a hammer candlestick suggesting that this is our higher low. We are probably going to be coming back up here. All right. Or, you get a nasty fade down here and this thing's going to fade. It's one or the other. We're not going to trade flat all week. All right. So just realize you're going to have volatility. It's going to be one of those things I just pointed out there. But, I'm just going to come over here before we go over the QQ levels. I'll just come over here. I'm just going to point out. All right, guys, the market likes to move with Nvidia. 4-hour RSI is not even oversold over here on Nvidia yet. That is typically something we, a condition that we see before, getting these bottoms, before we get decent rips. That's not something we have right now. Okay. On top of that, you gave up the $100 psych level the other, like you were, testing it the other day, and you gave it up today. You gapped down underneath it. You did not reclaim $100. That is not a good look. That is something that, is probably going to lead to further downside over here. So along with what I just pointed out, the 4-hour RSI not being oversold, I think that's going to get oversold. I'm also just going to point to all of the bottoms we have over here on Nvidia. Look at today's daily candlestick. All right. Just look at how it formed today. I'll zoom in for it. Okay. Everybody got that? It's right here. Everybody got that. Now we're going to come over and we're going to look at every single bottom over here for a while. Does this look like that? No. Does this look like that? And, that got sold into. It still didn't look like it. Does this look like that? No. All right. Does this look like that? No. Does this look like that? No. All right. We are probably going to get a doji candlestick at some point, or we will get a wide-bodied bar, whether that be a bearish bar like this or a bullish bar like this. All right. It's either going to come from a doji candlestick or we get the wide body bar and then we start gapping up and going. That's how you know you got, I'm not going to say a bottom in, but that is the criteria here that we're going to be looking for on the daily time frame for Nvidia to bottom out. The market is going to be moving with our buddy over here in Nvidia. So if this thing is probably going to be continuing lower, then the market is probably going to be continuing lower. The thesis is as simple as that. I'm going to come over here to Meta. Does this look like something that's just going to have a perfect double bottom and then it's going to bounce back from that? No. All right. We're probably going to come a little bit lower. Maybe then you bounce back and maybe even go lower. All right. The weekly RSI is still not oversold here on Meta. This is the only Mag 7 stock that does not have the weekly RSI oversold. All right. Nvidia over there, it's in the same boat. But we're talking, Tesla, we're talking Google, we're talking Apple, we're talking Microsoft, we're talking Amazon. All of these things are looking much weaker. Tesla, does this look like a stock that's probably, just going to bottom out like this? Or does it look like something that's probably going to push back down to the bottom here at 217? These are the things we're looking at here. And, now in hindsight, I see the weekly RSI is not oversold over here on Tesla, all right? But most of them, they're oversold at this point in time. Meta is, likely going to be continuing lower. Nvidia likely going to be continuing lower. Tesla looks like it's probably going to take out 217. Guys, that's 3 out of 7 Mag 7 stocks that just aren't looking the best. You come over here to Apple. I understand, you're not looking bad at all. All right, you're not. This could be a potential low before you bounce back, but you don't know until you take out 198.23. So is there really a reason to be trying to catch the falling knife now? No, there's not. Okay, you could just see how we, opened up over here on ES. You opened up under like at the bottom of the previous week's candlestick, and then you bounced back and you found supply up there. That is as expected. That is how that typically goes. We did not, get anything crazy over here in the bullish direction. All right, if you were to get a gap up, and then today we saw, you start approaching last week's high, that looks great. Okay, but we don't. And now we're kind of just floating in midair over here. I'm just going to point out again. Do you think Meta is going to have a perfect double bottom like that? Or is it going to, have a jagged bottom? Okay, we're going to probably have the jagged bottom. We're not going to have a perfect double bottom. Then we're going to bounce off of that. It's just not realistic. So, I hope you guys are seeing what I'm clearly trying to show you guys, wave in front of your face. I'm just, you don't even have to use your own brain power here. All right, just literally look at the charts I'm showing you. These things probably aren't going to be bottoming right here. Okay, you're probably going a little bit lower. So with that, in mind, fine, QQ are probably going to be going a little bit lower. And, that's why I wanted to take the time and go over that Nvidia Meta chart there. The thesis is as simple as that. They look like they're going to be continuing lower. You can just back test, just go back and check on the charts. You typically don't get bottoms off what we got today. All right, so just don't expect that to be the case. If with that in mind, over there in the video, with what I just showed you in mind, we've got plenty of dead cat bounces that then 2 or 3 days, trading sessions from then get sold down to new lows. If you get the pop, the short, the pop is the move. The pop is to be shorted. Enough said. All right, there you go. There you go. I haven't taken out that was easy button in quite some time. I missed you, buddy. All right, over here on QQQ, we're going to come down to the 4-hour time frame. And I know you got buyers stepping in over here, but you still didn't even hit the 0.618 fib. You got so close that it just doesn't make sense for you not to hit it at that point. And again, with what I was pointing out, you can even see over here, 4-hour RSI, it's just kind of floating in midair over here. We typically see it get, either right next to oversold territory or come down to oversold territory. That is this whole entire time. That is going all the way back to September 2024. That's not even in this crazy crapshoot market we've been in. So just keep that in mind. Like if over here, every time you got down here, okay, like the actual corrections, you are getting oversold. Well, we're not even oversold right now. All right, so just keep these things in mind. On the downside, 432.63, we're right on it right now. If you lose that tomorrow, we're talking 427.93, 423.45. All right, you don't want to be giving up this. From that point, we are literally just going to watch the golden pocket. If you really want another level, you could put on 420.53. That's where you had this little base going on here, and then you broke out from it. Okay, but underneath 423.45, I'm personally just going to pay attention to 415. If you don't find buyers in this area right here, it looks like it's clipped. it looks like you're probably going to be coming back down to a new low. All right, so that's the downside over there on QQ. Now on the upside, let's say we get above 432.63. What are we going to be paying attention to? I'm just going to mark this out right here, 437.76. Above 437.76, we're talking 443.06. This is where if you see a pop into this tomorrow, sellers better defend right here, because if you start getting above it, you open the door to this scenario right here. And whether you pull back there or not, it literally doesn't matter. You get above here, you open yourself up to these upper levels right there. You open yourself up to a larger bounce. Okay? So sellers, you're going to need to defend 443.06 tomorrow. Other than that, okay, you shorten the pop. You don't want to get above 443.06, so you can easily place that as a stop. The closer you get to there, the less risk you have on the table. And if you get faked out, then who freaking cares? All right, maybe you get stopped out and maybe immediately comes back like that. Retake the entry. All right, that's all you have to do. You could keep your tight risk management in this market. You can do it. I believe in you. And if you don't know how to do it yourself, if you need that guidance, I will be here live streaming 9:30 to 11 every day in the Discord. Link is going to be down below. The Easter sale is still going on. I'm going to keep it running for the next few trading sessions here. 50% off, code Easter. There you go. But you know, pretty simple game plan over here. It's the same thing. SPY get the same look, okay? It's that 525 level over here on SPY. If you see sellers not defend it and you get above 525, it's as simple as that, all right? Stop trying to short the thing. Just stop. Just wait. Maybe you go like that and you get sucked right back down. That's what I'm saying. Just retake it. Take the paper cut loss, because the other side of that coin is this thing rips faces and you don't take the loss and it's ripping face on you, and all of a sudden, you know, your options down 50%. You're like, what the heck happened? Henry, what the heck happened? Well, I told you what to do over here, okay? All right, so that is that. That is SPY. That is QQ. I'm just going to point out VIX, guys. It started popping up from the perfect spot, and it does look like it's going to continue, all right? So this is what we were watching over here, 28.32. We came back to retest it, found buyers the other day, last week over there. I'm just going to say this thing's perking up over here. Okay, it's perking up. If it breaks above 35.17 tomorrow, okay, you're probably going to push up here to 38.58. It's probably just how that's going to go. You know, the 4-hour EMA cloud, it's curling back up. The daily, you're not bearish over here. You're still above the break and retest level. The weekly time frame, you literally pulled back to the picture perfect 28.32 break and retest level, and now you're gapping up. Like, you know, I know it's the VIX, but let's just pretend this is a stock that we're actually trading here, okay, that's got money constantly flowing in and out of it, even though that's not how the VIX moves. All right, but let's pretend it does. This is not something you get bearish on right here, because in reality, the odds favor it moving up. It's something you get bearish on if it loses the big psych level, which in this case is the break and retest level of 28.32. From that point, you can look for your VIX crush. But until that happens, okay, the VIX is likely to be bought here, guys. And that's that. And again, it is as simple as watch over there on QQQ. 443.03 right here. SPY, 525 right over here. Those are your two key levels right there. If you're risking on shorts, those are your key levels. You break those, you're like, okay, let me take a step back. Maybe I'm wrong. All right. And maybe you get stopped out. Maybe it comes right back. And then you're like, just stupid piece of crap market. What the heck? But then, dude, you could get right back in. So you don't have to call the market a stupid piece of crap, because the market in reality is a beautiful thing. The market allows us to extract money from the impatient, give it to the patient. The market's job is to take everyone's money. That is literally the market's job. Don't play into the trap. Play along with it. There you go. All right, guys. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And with that being said, I will catch y'all in the next one. Keep killing this market. Peace.